Hello and welcome to Flux Cyber. My name's Ryan and we're going to continue our series of learning KQL, which is a custom query language, using the platform KC7 Cyber with KC7cyber.com. I'd like to thank them for offering this platform. It's a brilliant resource, one that you don't have to sign up to. You can just sort of start as a guest and it's brilliant. So I'll be continuing through that journey of learning custom query language. On the left you have the stories. On the right you've got the various queries that you can enter, and just below that you have the results of those queries. Now I'm going to film this slightly out of order because I'd already done the second one before this, and unfortunately OBS decided that it wasn't going to record it. So it said it was recording, but when I came to sort of edit the footage and try and make it look a bit prettier, it was a complete and utter failure. It captured 20 minutes of it and I just didn't have the heart to continue. So I'm going to come back to that one. So they'll be slightly out of order. So this one is the third game of this particular platform. But let's not worry, let's carry on. So this one is Valdoria, or welcome to Valdoria in this case. And we're on section 1, which is KQL 101. I'll just preface all this to say that I am not a SOC analyst. I'm just interested in cybersecurity and learning KQL. I do have an IT background. However, it's not my primary role, if you will, isn't cybersecurity, but it's just an area that I am interested in. So learning KQL will help me, maybe get a job primarily in cybersecurity. So this is where we're going. So where are we? So welcome to Valdoria. So on the eve of the election, Neen Leaks, the esteemed editor of the Valdorian Times, awoke to a nightmare. The Valdorian Times, the beacon of truth for the city, published a scandalous article accusing Luffy of corruption and misconduct. The article, a vile concoction of lies, was not what she had approved. The article alleged that Luffy, hailed for his environmental activism and social reforms, was secretly involved in a land deal scandal, exploiting his position to benefit a shadowy network of real estate moguls. Furthermore, it accused Luffy of accepting a substantial bribe to push environmentally damaging policies, a stark contradiction to his public persona. However, the article, a vile concoction of lies, was not what was approved by the editor. The Valdorian Times has hired us as cyber incident responders to help investigate the incident and get to the bottom of how the falsified article was published. Okay, I'm not going to watch this video, although really I should, but I don't know if it's going to come across. So what I'll do is, if I do happen to watch the video, I will just probably have to paste it in somewhere when I do the post edit. Just also on that, I'm going to start stopping the recording just to make sure that it's saving. So I will be doing this in stages. So if you do see it jump around and it becomes a bit jarring, just let me know. I'll try and do my best not to, but we'll see how it goes. So let's do ready to get started. Okay, so question 2. To start your investigation, you will need access to the company's pool of data. The Azure Data Explorer, or the ADX pane on the right, which is this one, contains our top secret data, and we will use the ADX to run queries that will help us answer these questions. For each query we provide, you can simply copy and paste it in the query pane on the right. Now, I'm not going to do that. I want to type out everything that I sort of see on the left-hand side, because for me, I believe it helps us with muscle memory and helps us with learning. So I will be continuing, as I did in the previous episode, to continue to type. So we can, what are we doing? Run a take on each of the tables to see what kind of data they contain. So take 10, we'll take 10 random lines of the employees table. So we can do done to earn us a credit with that. So question 3. Now that we've got access to the data, we'll need to get a lay of the land. Let's get some more information about the Valdorian Times. How many employees work at the Valdorian Times? Okay, so we need to go over to our query window and we need to look in the employees table, and we're just going to do account. So what that should do is show us everything, all rows within that. So according to this, there are 100 employees at the Valdorian Times. So we can use the where operator with the employees table to find a specific employee. Here's a template you can follow. So where, the field, the operator, and then the value. So in this case, that is the where, the role, and the editorial director as the value. So let's get rid of this. And we're going to do where, role, equals. We're going to open up some brackets. I'm going to editorial director. Now I've probably spelled that wrong, but we'll soon find out, won't we, if it doesn't run. So no, I've probably spelt it wrong then. So I've put an extra I in, and for some reason my delete key doesn't work. There we go. So what is the editorial director's name? Well, his name is Neen Leaks. Is there anything else in here? In fact, actually, do you know what? I'm just going to make some notes here. I'll just quickly make some notes. Is there any other anything else in here? Username will do. We'll take a username. And we'll take the role. And we'll take the host name as well, just so we have it. And let's move that back across. I'll tell you what, we'll take the hire date as well, just for completeness. So we've got everything now about this editorial director. So the question is, what is his name? So we've done that. So question 5. We can learn more about Neen Links using the information from other tables. Let's take our email address from the employees table and use it in a query from the email table. So we can do that. So we got the email address here. So let's do a new table. So if we do we'll do Neen underscore email equals, we'll paste that in, and then we'll stick a semicolon on the end, and then we'll look in the email table where recipient equals, and we'll do Neen email, and then we will do account. Let's see if this works. It does, so it gives us 18. So what I did there was I used a let statement, which is a variable. So that's the variable name, and then that's what the variable is, which in this case is the email address. And then in the where statement, I just called on that particular variable and then said count. So the answer should be 18. And we won. So question 6, you can use the distinct operator to find unique values in a specific column. So how many distinct senders were seen in the email logs from the domain name weprintstuff.com? So let's take a copy of that. So I'm going to alter this now to say where sender has, and then put that domain in. And let's get rid of that, and we can say distinct, and then the field we want is going to be domain, I should imagine. Is it domain? Have we got a domain field? Oh no, it's distinct senders we want, isn't it? So it's distinct sender. Okay, so that's 100. So let's see if that's right. Look at us. Okay, so question 7. How many distinct websites did Lois Lane visit? So now we need to change tables again. But I don't know what Lois Lane's IP is. So I need to find out who Lois Lane is. So let's go back to the employees where name contains, let's just do Lois. Let's see what we get with anything with this. Okay, so we get Lois Lane. We have Lois Lane's IP address. So let's take, again, let's just make some quick notes here. They may not be needed, but it's probably just quicker if we take some of this now. I don't know why my task by bars are very minimal, but we'll take this, copy. Let's do that. She's the director of news operations, and she has a host name. That. Anything else in here? No. Right. Okay. So let's go back to where we were. So we want to look at the outbound network events where the source IP contains, and we need the IP address of Lois. And let's run that. So that gives us 62. So distinct website. So actually we need distinct in here, don't we? So distinct URLs. So there's 62 distinct URLs. Is that the right answer? And it is. The crowd goes wild. So question 8. How many distinct domains in the passive DNS records contain the word higher? Okay, so let's try that then. So we want the passive DNS table, and we're looking for domains in the. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know the passive DNS schema, so I don't know what columns are in here. So what I could have done is, I mean, I've just brought them all back, but if you've got a really large table, or you don't even know, you can just take 10, which what it'll do is it'll bring back 10 random lines, but that gives us our column names. So we know what our column names are now. So we can say, so we want domains that contain the word higher. So we can say, where domain contains higher, and then we can do the operator distinct domain, and then if we run that, that gives us 6. And let's submit that. Ah, there we go. We're on a roll. Question 9. What IPs did the domain job hire.org resolve to? Okay, so what was it? Jobhire.org. So if we copy that, and we'll say, we'll paste that in. And then we will get rid of that. I don't know why my delete key isn't working. I'll have to look at that. If we run that, let's see what it gives us. And we have an IP of that. So again, in my notes, I'll paste that in. I will paste that in because you never know whether this will become kind of relevant later on, but we'll just whack it in our notepad just in case. But yeah, basically it's asking me for that. And we got that right. So question 10. How many distinct websites did employees with the first name Mary visit? Okay. So this one's a bit more complicated one, isn't it? So let's see. So let Mary underscore IP equals, and then this is looking in the employees table. Where name as Mary, and then distinct IP address, and then we've got to close that off. So that's now the entire let statement that's bringing back the IP address for Mary. I can't. There's nothing to. I don't think I'll do anything if I run that. I don't think it does anything. No, because there's no statement really. That's just letting out the variable, isn't it? Okay, but actually now we're saying, look in the outbound network events table, where the source IP in Mary's IP, and then distinct IP address. Is that distinct source IP? Should that be? I mean, IP address does come back, so let's see what happens. And then we'll just do. I wonder if you can just do distinct count. No, we can't. That's not right, is it? Distinct IP address. Let's just see what happens, because I'm not sure. Let's just see what we get. Okay, what doesn't it like? 25 position 19. So it doesn't like that. So I'll tell you what. Let's just bring everything back for the minute and just see if that bit works. Okay. What doesn't it like? 25. Let's try that again. Expected Mary IP. So it's expecting brackets. Okay. Let's try that then. Right. So we get lots of URLs, but we want distinct websites. So if we do then distinct URL, gives us 58. Did we get there in the end? We did. 58. We got there in the end. So what have we got? So that's the variable, but it's pulling it directly from. So rather than us defining a variable, which I did here, which is defining a variable, it's pulling it directly from the table, and then using that, piping that into the outbound network events. Okay. So, question 11. How many authentication attempts did we see How many authentication attempts did we see to the accounts of employees with the first name Mary? Right, so if I just get rid of that, because we can keep this, however, we want distinct usernames now, don't we? So that would give us the username for Mary. But now we want to look in the authentication events table where, no, we don't want a user agent. We want a username in, and then we want brackets, and we want Mary IP. Now I know that we should really change that to Mary username, shouldn't we? So our statement, because that's otherwise it's poor form, right? So Mary username, and then we can do just a simple count. So what have we got? 70. So how many authentication attempts? So 70. Blimey, 70. Submit. Ah, yes. We're beating this game like a drum. That's what we like. So just before we hit question 12, I am going to stop this recording and just let it save, and then I will rejoin you in a moment. Okay, so we're on to question 12. So congratulations, you've passed KQL 101. Let's dive into the investigation. So we're going to type ready to earn that credit. So we've got section 2, welcome to Valdoria. Question 1. Now we're starting the investigation. As a first step, you reach out to the editorial director, Neen Leaks, to ask for more information. So what have we got? So hi Neen, I'm the incident responder who has been hired to help you investigate. Can you tell me what happened? So happy we're here. We did not write the article. We were planning on releasing an article about candidates, but the article I approved looked nothing like the one. We would not publish nothing so defamatory. We're here to help. Do you have any suggestions who I should talk to? You might want to start to talk to our newspaper printer, Clark Kent. He's the last person to publish articles. So let's whack his name in our notes here. So what is there we go. So what is the newspaper's printer's name? So we've just done that, Clark Kent. Okay, question 2. So next, you talk with Clark Kent. He seems very distressed about the whole situation. He tells you he simply printed the article that was emailed to him, as he always does. He tells you he thinks the editorial intern was the one who sent him the final draft of the article. Okay, so let's go back up here. We've already got a query which looks at roles, so let's just take that. Okay, so the editorial intern is Ronnie McLovin. So we'll take that. We'll take. There's probably a quicker way of doing this. I'm sure. I'm sure there is. Someone is probably screaming at the screen right now, telling me if you did this, it would be so simple. And you're probably right, but the more you know, the more you know. So I'll probably figure out what it is, learn it, and then curse myself for having done it the long way around. Well, there we go. It's fine. So, what is the editorial intern's name? It's Ronnie McLovin. Okay, so question 3. When was the editorial intern hired? Well, actually, it's there, but I didn't actually take that. I didn't take that date, but we want that date and submit that. So question 4. So you contact Ronnie McLovin to ask more about the article. At this point, you haven't ruled out the possibility of an insider threat. So it's important that you get multiple perspectives of the situation from multiple individuals. Ronnie tells you she was in charge of the op-ed piece about the mayoral candidates, and she was supposed to send the final draft to Clark Kent for printing. However, she overslept. So she never actually sent the article. So you go back to Clark Kent with this information, but you're certain that in the final draft came from an email from Ronnie McLovin. He says he received the email on January 31st at 2024. So I'll just whack that in. So how many total emails has Clark Kent received? So we'll take this and we'll say where a recipient contains, we've got Clark Kent's email address, have we? Oh no, we didn't pick it up. We should have got that. Can I just put Kent in? Oh no, so we need to be careful here because it's obviously picked up Heather Kent. However, it has given us Clark's email address, so we can be a bit more specific now with that, and we should be able to say count. Now, if you put the right pipe in, we should be able to say count. So if we run that, what do we get? 21. There we go. So review the emails Clark Kent for one sent on in January 31st. So since there's only 21 emails, I'm not too bothered about that. So I'm just going to get rid of that, run that, and we'll just have a quick look at the subject line, at the date, sorry. So the 31st of January. So that will be the only one. Now I suppose what we could do in here, if we wanted to, we could sort by timestamp and say send him, and that should give us what we need. And there it is, right at the top. So what was the subject? In fact, actually, there you go. That's how I can probably quickly pull everything into here, isn't it? I can just highlight all that. But anyway, that's by the by. So I'm going to, because I don't like that, I am just going to scroll across because I prefer to play it out that way. Or not. Why is my scroll doodad not working? There you go. Submit that. Who sent this email containing the final edits for the op-ed piece? The sender was Ronnie. So question 7. What was the name of the docx file that was sent in this email? So let's scroll across. Now again, for me, it's at the end of my scroll, so I can't see any link. So what I can do in here is do the project and project the link. So if I run that, that gives me then only the column link. And I can take that. So if I can't paste the whole thing in actually, so I'll have to type it. So op-ed final to print docx. Brilliant. So it looks like Ronnie did send the email. When you go back and talk to Ronnie, she's adamant that she didn't send the draft. She thinks maybe someone used her account to send it, but she doesn't recall getting any unusual emails about anything or any weird activity. So do you think this needs closer investigation? Well, absolutely it does. So you stop by the Valdorian Times office and meet with some staff. And after the meeting, one employee, Sonia comes up and says she might have something that will help. So we'll take that. We'll paste Sonia in here. And we need to find out her job role. So we'll say where name contains Sonia. So hire date is that. We'll take that. We'll take her IP address because you never know, that might be useful. And we'll take an email address because again, it might be useful. Let's try and scroll across. We'll take a username. We'll take that's Sonia's job role, which is what we want, but we will also paste it in here, and we will take a host name for our notes. Okay, so let's submit that. So, question 2. Sonia shows you a suspicious email she received a few weeks ago. So this is from newspaperjobs@gmail.com. We're in search of a multimedia journalist and thought we thought your experience was quite impressive. Would you consider applying? So there's a link in that. And it's from Mike Smith at We Hire Journalists. So let's just make some more notes. That is coming from newspaper_jobs@gmail.com. So straight away, that's, I would expect if it's a company like We Hire Journalists, I'd expect it to have a We Hire Journalists domain, right? So that's, to me, that's immediately sketchy. Is there anything else in here? So we could take the date. So that's 1st of the 10th, 2024 at 07:58. So can we get out of that? Okay, so what email address was used to send this email? There you go. That's in our notes. Submit. So let's look for the email in our email logs. So email logs. So we can say where sender contains, and we can put this in here. Let's just, oh, I want that. Let's try that again. And let's just get rid of all that, and let's just have that. Okay, what's missing? That's because I spelled that wrong. Right, okay, so we've got that. It went to a few people. We're only bothered about the one that was sent to Sonia. Luckily, there's only 6 of them, so we could continue to filter down, but I'm not going to bother. I missed a 2 there. Okay, so what URL was in the email? Well, I'm already here, so let's take a copy of that. You ask Sonia if she clicked on the link, but she says she doesn't remember, but let's help her. What is Sonia Goose's IP address? Well, we have that in our notes here. Did Sonia click this link? So what we need to do is look at outbound network events, don't we, where that IP address is here. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, so we want get requests for a start. So where method contains get, and we want the link, don't we? So we can further filter that down to, say where URL can we could say equals because we know exactly what the URL. Oh, I didn't make a note of the URL. Oh, that's no good. Let me just take that. So there you go. I should have made a note of that. So let's go forward again. So where the URL is that. Okay. So two source IPs went to that at 2 different times. We know that Sonia's IP address ends in .3. So again, what we probably should have done, really, is probably change that because we knew what it was to an equals, and that would just get us the one we wanted. But because we didn't, and we did a contains, it's actually shown us that more than one person clicked that link. So if we were an analyst in doing a real investigation, this is so valuable because now we know that somebody else has potentially been compromised. But let's just worry about this particular one now. So did she click on the link? Well, by virtue of being in the outbound network events, she did. Oh, enter the timestamp. Gosh darn it. Not reading the question. Fail for not reading the question. So it does look like Sonia did click the link. What was the name of the docx file in the link that Sonia clicked? Well, it is that. If she clicked the link, we would assume that the file might have been downloaded. Let's see if we can find that file on a machine. What is Sonia Goes' host name? Well, we have that here. So that's good that we've made notes. I mean, again, we've reached level 9. We could go back just to here because we've still got it in our list of queries. So we could have just gone back to here and quickly pulled it up. I mean, it's not, but we've made notes specifically for this. So anyway, when did the docx first show up on Sonia's machine? That's interesting. Okay, so what would we want then? We need file creation events where the host name contains, well, in fact, again, we have the host name. So the host name, so that should tell us this. We could run this. In fact, I am going to run it, just see how many comes back. So we've got 48. So we need to filter that a bit further, don't we? So we can say, what have we got? Oh, we go. So we have got file names. So we can say where file name. We will say equals because we know what the file name is, which is here. So that should narrow it right down. There we go. So when. So we want that timestamp. Okay, section 3, question 10. Okay, so I'm just going to do what I did before, which was just a little pause just to make sure that this file captures. So I shall be back in a moment. Okay, so question 10. What was the full path of the docx file that was downloaded to Sonia's machine? So we've got the path here, and we will just whack that in so we have it. So question 11. A hash is a string that uniquely represents the contents of a file. We can get the hash of a file by running it through a hashing algorithm. Lucky for us, the hashes of all downloaded files have already been captured. What is the 256 hash? So there's a column 256 hash. We will paste that in, and then again we will just whack it in here just so we've got it. So question 12. After the malicious file was downloaded, it began executing malicious content. Let's continue to look at Sonia's machine. What was the name of the PS1 file that was written to disk immediately after the docx was downloaded? So we need to change this to a contains. Delete one of those, and we want .ps1. So actually, let's just grab that time. Let's just grab that timestamp, which was, let's put it here, just so we've got that timestamp. So it was 1024. But so let's just run that now, because I don't know how many of these PS1s are going to come back. There could be a few, right? Oh, there's only one anyway. So okay, 1024 and 32. So what was the name of that file? So let's just have a look. So it's Hacktivist Manifesto. So question 13. When was this new file created? Oh, we have that here. And question 14. The file extension of this new file, PS1, is pretty interesting. Let's do some research. What type of file is this? Well, I know that a PS1 file is PowerShell. So PowerShell is I think you can run PowerShell on other ones, but Windows is mainly where PowerShell is. So you managed to do some forensics to get a copy of the PowerShell script. Here's what it looks like. So what have we got? Stealth mode PowerShell to invoke Plink. Invoke Plink? Well, Plink is. And uncovered the truth. Green is a hacker colour, so it's setting the foreground colour as green. Define Plink URL and destination path. So the Plink URL is earth.li sg Tatum, and it's downloading to the to program data temp. Let them know we're here. So right host, so I must put a pop-up up to say you're about to get pwned. Then sleep, and then say done. So then download Plink, invoke web request Plink URL, which is this up here, and then put it into the destination path, which is the temp. Make fun of the victim, so put another pop-up saying calling them a loser, and now run it and get juicy hands-on keyboard. So go to the destination path and execute port 3389 with a username of Shadow and a password of truth will set you free. I'm going to take all that. So $shadow and the password TRUTH capital W exclamation mark LL S3 TUFREE. So let's just add some. What else do we want? So C:\\. Why have I no backslash? I must have some weird keyboard settings or something I have to look at on this machine. C:\\, program data /temp /plink.exe. So I've got that. I'll put the dot earth.li just in case I need it. And then basically it is just pulling. I don't know where half of these characters are. Anyway, but basically it's pulling it from there. So we might not even need all this, but since I've got it open, it'd be silly not to take it. So what does the attack here to let you know they are here? It was LOL. You are about to get PWND. According to the PowerShell script, what might be the hacker's favourite colour? Well, it was green, wasn't it? Because green's the hacker colour, we all know that. The purpose of the script is to invoke something and cover the truth. Well, we took that. It's to uncover Plink. Whatever. Oh, no. Yeah, invoke Plink. Yeah. Question 18. We might be able to find more information about the PowerShell script in the process events data. Look for process events related to the PowerShell script. Use the name of the PS1 file. Did we take that? We didn't take that, did we? So what I'm going to do is just paste that in there. So I've got it. Take this. Let's just paste that in our notes so we have it. So process events, where process command line, process name, that might be it, contains that. Does that give us anything? Oh, it does. Okay, gives us how many process events are related to this PowerShell script. Process events. Oh, wow, okay. So this has gone across loads of desktops. That's interesting. We only care though about Sonia, don't we? So we need Sonia's host name. But again, I mean, if we were a SOC analyst, we'd be crying right now because it's gone across. You know, all these people have opened it, but right now we don't care about that. So we can say where host name contains that, and then run it. Okay. So that does give us Sonia's name. So how many? So it's just one. No. Related to this. How many process events are related to this PowerShell script on Sonia's machine? Okay. So where the process name contains, can I just get rid of that then? And just have a look at everything that's got PS1. To find related process events. Look for process events related to the PowerShell script. Use the name of the PS1 file to find related process events. How many process events? Are we looking at, should it be process command line then? So if we do process command line, what does that give us? Okay, that gives us more. That gives us 3. There we go. So yeah, I should have been looking at the process command line actually rather than the process name itself, because it's related tasks, I suppose. Okay, so it looks like one of the processes is using scheduled tasks, which creates a scheduled task to conduct certain actions at a regular interval. What is the full command used to create the scheduled task? Well, that's the scheduled task there. If we take that and we will just whack that in there and whack that in there. So what execution policy is set in the command? The execution policy is it in that command? It is. It's set to bypass. So execution's policy is set to bypass. So purpose. Question 21. Check process events for evidence of plink being executed on Sonia's machine. So if we change that then to plink. What IP address is used on plink? What have we got? There. So let's again, let's just whack that in. Give us some space. It looks like the attacker has established a connection to Sonia's machine from an external IP address. What username did the attacker use when connecting via plink? Well, we had that before. It was Shadow. And what password did the attacker use? Again, we had that before in our notes here. Attackers use plink to establish a tunnel to a compromised machine. Now that the attacker has established a tunnel to Sonia's machine, they can manually run commands to do specific things on the device. This is called hands-on keyboard activity. Let's look closer at the machine to find the commands that the attackers may have run after establishing the tunnel. What 6-letter command did the attackers run to figure out which user they were logged on to on the computer? Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. So I'm just going to comment that out, and we'll have a look at all processes now. So there's 328. I think I don't need most of this. So if I wanted to find out who I was on a computer, I'd use the "Who am I" command in Windows. So I'd open up a command prompt. So if we look at and say where the parent process name contains cmd.exe. What does that give us now? So we've got 328. What does that bump us down to? 55. Okay. I know just from that we need to look for who am I. So where process command line contains who am I. Oh, we had it there. Who am I? Okay, so which... I could have answered that, couldn't I? It's who am I? Who am I? Who am I is called a discovery command. Attackers use commands like these to learn more about the computers that they compromise. How many discovery commands did the attackers run on this machine? If we do that and then run it, what do we get? So we get 55. Can I do... If I do... and in fact, if I do project and then process command line, so we've got 55. So what have we got? I don't care about any of this. It's going to be these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if it's 5, but we'll see. Yep, there you go, 5 it is. So we've hit a dead end. You've triaged the rest of the logs for this machine and it looks like nothing else malicious happened. Maybe the attackers weren't interested in Sonia. Do you think we can safely stop our investigation? Well, that's a hell nah. So question 1 of section 4. I'll tell you what, let's have another break and I shall save this recording. I'm sure I'll get used to doing more of these recordings and I'll be able to sort of go right through in one go. But when you've wasted a couple of hours, it's difficult to trust it again. So I'm going to stop it and then I'm going to come back. So section 4, question 1. We can apply what we've learned by investigating the activity affecting Sonia to find victims of this incident. I hope you took good notes. Another suspicious email address was also seen sending emails to Ronnie and a few others. So again, we'll take this. How many total emails were sent by this email? So let's go back to our email. Let's put this in. So sender contains that. Let's run that. 18. So it looks like the email address was used to target Ronnie. Was it? I don't see Ronnie in that list. Oh no, there's Ronnie. When did Valdori's best send that email to Ronnie McLovin? So I should have filtered a bit more actually and done some more KQL practicing, but there you go. What domain was in the link from that email? In fact, I will filter a bit more actually, just to make it a bit easier to see. So where recipient contains, paste that in and then run it. I should tidy that up a bit. There you go. That gives us a link. What domain was in the link? So it was promotionrecruit.org. Let's just do that. I'm going to take this link as well, because you never know. What was the subject of that email? Let's get rid of that. So take that, paste that. So just as we did with Sonia, we now need to see if Ronnie clicked the link. So have we got Ronnie's stuff? We have here. So I'm gonna we have got an IP address for Ronnie. Let's take a copy of that. So we want to look for outbound network events from that IP, and we want that particular link. Okay, so that was a GET request for that at that time. What was the name of the docx file that was downloaded to run his machine, which was editorial job openings? When was this doc downloaded? It's got to be that on it. Oh no, because that's when they clicked the link, so it should have been at the same time. But if we do file creation events, so if we look for file creation events, we look for that file on Ronnie's desktop, which is that one. So we can take that. No. When was the PS1 file dropped to Ronnie's machine? So we want to file creation events. Contains .ps1. Yeah, okay, so it's that top one. Let's take that, let's paste that. Okay, what IP address was used with Plink on Ronnie's machine? So, process events, we need to take this and we need to replace that. And let's just run that. What does that give us? So we need to find Plink. Now that's the parent process name. We don't want that. We want that. We want to get rid of that. And we want to do Plink. And we need to just comment out that. Okay. So what IP address was used? So is that a different, that's a different IP address, isn't it, from the one before? I mean, it's the same username and password, but it's a different IP address. What username was used? Same username. Which password? Same password. So how many discovery commands were run on Ronnie's machine? So we need to, again, sort of undo what we did. So let's do that. Let's get rid of that. Let's uncomment that. And we'll change that to cmd.exe. Let's run that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Question 13. Your investigative buddy, who was also looking at Ronnie's machine, saw a weird file, fake story docx, being downloaded from a suspicious domain. Let's see if we can find evidence of this download in the outbound network events. So what is Ronnie's IP address? We have that up here in our notes. What is the full URL fake story was downloaded from? So we want to look at outbound network events. We've still got that in. We can put in here then, I'm assuming, fake story .docx. Let's see what this brings us back. Nothing. Maybe because that's got equals. Can we just change that to a contains then? There we go. So full URL is that. So question 15. It does look like someone downloaded Fake Story to Ronnie's machine. Let's see if we can file that file, find that file on disk. Okay, so we need to go to file creation events. We want to find that file. So if we go back to that and paste that in, is that the right desktop? It is. What's missing? Okay, what is Ronnie's host name? Well, we have that anyway. What is a 256 hash? We have that here. And in fact, actually, we can also paste that into our notes there. When was Fake Story created on the machine? So we can grab the timestamp of that. So, question 18. Ronnie doesn't recall ever seeing that file or visiting that domain. Seems that this file download is evidence of the hands-on keyboard activity from the attackers. Let's see what the attackers did after they downloaded Fake Story by looking at the process events for Ronnie's machine. After downloading the Fake Story, the attackers ran a command to rename and move the file to a different location. Okay, so process events. We've already got Ronnie's machine. I wonder if we can just continue to leave that because they would use the command line. So let's just run that. Let's just run this again and see what this gives us. It's going to give us a lot, right? But what's the question? So the question is to move the file, to rename. So I wonder. Obviously, yeah. Yeah, okay. So we need to find something for renaming, don't we? I mean, again, there's only 44. There could be thousands and thousands in here. So we could just, really, we should kind of look to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Filter it down. But let's have a look. So we've got 7-zip. What's 7-zip doing? We've got the move command here. Actually, we've got all this 7-zip, which is zipping files up. So, but it's moving it from downloads into documents. So what's the new path of documents? Is that. When was this command executed to rename the file? So it's got to be around this time. I don't know if you can we just search for if we say where process command line contains rename. Okay. Let's just go back. Well, let's get that out. What else have we got in here? So I can see when it was moved. I can see when it was zipped. And that was... It's not that. It's opening Teams, opening Edge. That's opening that. That's opening that. So there's nothing in here that actually says when was this command executed to rename and move the file. Is this the same one? Oh, it is, isn't it? It's in the same thing, because what it's saying is move it and change its name. So it's actually the same thing. I need to project that and timestamp, don't I? So if I scroll down to that, that should give me what I need now, which is that, I think. I think I was just being a moron, wasn't I? Yep, I was being a moron. So question 20. Op-ed final, that seems familiar. But wait a minute, that's the same file name you saw when you looked in the email logs to find Ronnie sending the draft to Clark Kent. Is it possible that the attacker used Ronnie's email to send the file to Clark? When was the op-ed final emailed from Ronnie's account to Clark Kent? So let's go back to email. So we can change. We can get rid of that. Change that to sender, and we can say where link contains that. So sender's Ronnie, it's going to Clark Kent, and we have a timestamp. Winner. Okay, question 21. How many minutes elapsed between when the file was moved and renamed to Ronnie's machine and when the email was sent to Clark Kent? How many minutes elapsed from when it was moved? So I need just to go back down here because So when was that? And let's go back up here. I'm sure there is a way that in KQL you can do this. Pretty sure. But I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, to be honest. So I'm going to save where I'm going. I'm sure that, in fact, I might just have to research this because I'm sure there's a way of doing a difference between the two. I'm just going to have a quick look and I will come back to you because I want to save this recording anyway. So I'll come back in 2 seconds. So, yeah, I had to have to sort of Google it around because I didn't know, to be fair. So according to our friend Google, we can do this in KQL by giving it this particular command. Now I haven't run this, don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see what it gives us. Time difference in seconds. Well, that's no good. I want it in minutes. What is that in minutes then? What is it? It's 45 minutes. No. Okay. How many minutes elapsed between when the file was moved to Ronnie's machine and when the email was sent to Clark Kent? Do you have to round up something? Round down? I mean, it's 45 minutes. I honestly don't know. Is it? Do you have to round down? No, round down. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So, yeah, print the time difference in seconds. So you're actually doing the calculation there, which is interesting. And if you divided that by 60, what do you get? Does that give you anything? I'd say now maths isn't my strong point, right? Oh, there you go, 45.2. So I don't know why they got 44, but okay. There you go. There's a little bit more for you. I wasn't expecting that, but there we go. Let's carry on. So, let's go back to. I think it was this one, wasn't it? So, what was the subject line of this email? So it's like urgent. Please publish this in tomorrow's article. So, question 23. It looks like the attackers downloaded the fake story, renamed it, and then sent it to Clark Kent using Ronnie's email. Do you think this is the only thing the attackers did on Ronnie's machine? Well, no. No, it won't be, will it? They'll be doing lots more. So in the middle of your investigation, Ronnie finds and shows you an alert she received from the dark web monitoring service. Let's have a look at that. Dear Ronnie McLovin, we've detected the following activity related to your digital footprint. Ronnie McLovin's dank memes for sale at hirerecruit.com. This alert indicates that your personal information may be at risk. So Ronnie McLovin's dank memes at hirerecruit.com. So let's just put that here. Hire. What am I doing? Hirerecruit.com. So let's get rid of that. So, what is the domain mentioned in this alert? Oh, I've just done that, if I spelt it right. So, question 25. It looks like someone may have stolen Ronnie's memes from a machine. Let's see if we can find evidence of the attacker stealing any data. We can time-bound our analysis to find other actions that occurred around the same query using this query. Okay, process events where timestamp is between those two dates, where hostname equals Ronnie's hostname. So, process events. So I'm going to tidy some of this up. So let's get rid of some of this. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. So we want to add where timestamp is between date and time, and then we need to put those dates and times in, so we'll have to just pull it from here. And then we want this date and time. So that can go in after there. Take that in. And where hostname contains that, and then they are sorting it, or they're ordering it, so we'll do that. Order by timestamp ascending. What does that give us? It gives us 2. So how many total commands were run? So right after renaming fake story to op-ed final, the attackers ran some commands to steal or exfiltrate data from Runner's machine. One command the attackers ran leveraged 7-zip. We saw that earlier actually. I noticed there were lots of 7-zips in that log. To compress all of Ronnie's dank memes into that .7z file, or z file if you're American. What is the name of the 7-zip file that contains the stolen memes? So, is that in this list? Nope. Right, okay, so we need to go back. We need to go back to here. Let's have a look at all files that were created. And I remember that 7-zip there's getting 7-zip, isn't it? Can we do process events then, actually, rather than file creation? Because I was looking for the 7-zip. So if I go to here and get rid of that, keep it that, get rid of that, and say where process command line contains .7-zip. Okay. Alright, so it's saying put it into that. So question 27. What is the name of the 7-zip file that contains the file stolen from Ronnie's documents folder? Is that the full, is it asking for the full thing then or something? Is it, or am I missing the point here? Is that like they want the full path? No. What is the name of the 7-zip file that contains files stolen from Ronnie's documents folder? Did I not just put that in the last one? What is the name of the 7-zip file that contains the stolen memes? I'm a bit confused. Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh. Honestly. Right, well, I'm definitely confused then, because that doesn't make sense. There's only 3 that I can go at. Oh, because that's from desktop. It says documents folder. Honestly. Desktop folder, so now we want the other one. Question 29. What is the password the attackers use to encrypt all of the files? Assuming it's that. Question 30. After compressing all of the stolen data into 7-zip files, the attackers exfiltrated the data by uploading it to a custom portal on the website. I saw that before. It was a curl command. So what was the full command there? What domain was the stolen data uploaded to? Hirejob.com. Let's get rid of that. Query process events for all devices at Valdorian times. Was any data stolen from other devices? Query process events for all devices. So if we get rid of that then. And we look at, no, they're all on the same desktop. So 7-zip wasn't run anywhere else. So congratulations, you've completed your investigation. To show your findings with the Valdorian Times leadership, you prepared this incident report summarising what you did. Look at us. I'm just going to briefly read this. Published an unapproved article. We got that. Clark Kent reported that he printed the article. He was received by Ronnie, IT specialist. Yeah, so we've got all the tapes. We've got all the IP addresses, the Hacktivist manifesto. So yeah. So it was a report, and we could have done that report again from all the notes that we've taken on the right hand side here. We could have put something very similar together. So that's cool. And we have to type. Woo. So as you're wrapping up your investigation, you receive a strange email. So, hey Rookie, you may think you have found us, but you have so much to learn. The truth will set you free. We're hiding in the shadows. So that's from newspaperjobs@gmail. So type shadows to finish this module. Mission complete. Fantastic. I really enjoyed that. I started to get into a bit of a role. I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to obviously move on to the next one, and at some point I will step back and do the one that failed to record. I'll step back and do that again. But thank you for sticking with me if you've been around for this long. I've realised that it's a really long video, but I wanted to get it all in. And again, the point of this is for me to learn. And if you want to sort of join me for the ride, that's brilliant.